Welcome to our Viniyoga Unplugged meeting, our monthly Sanga, and this time is June, so it's our sixth meeting. Let us start with our invocation. Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashivarna Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarvavighnopashantaye Yasya Dviradavaktraadhyaः Parishadhyaः Parashatam Veghnanti Satatam Vishwaksenantamashraye Jnananandamayan Devam Nirmalasphटिकाकृतिम् Adharam Sarvavidyanam Hayagreevamupasmahe Pundarikaasanasinam Pandurabhrendusannibham Akhandabodajanakam Hayagreevamupasmahe Gurubhyastadgurubhyascha Namo Vakamadhimahe Vranimahe Chatatradhyo Dampati Jagatampati Srinagaryam Mahapuryam Tamraparnyuttare Tate Shri Tintrini Mooladhamne Shathakopaya Mangalam Neelatungastanagiri Suptamudbodhya Krishnam Parartham Swam Shruti Shatashira Siddhamadhyapayante Swachishthayam Srajani Galitaya Baladkritya Bhunte Godatasyai Nama Idamidam Bhoya Evastu Bhoya Jayatu Jayatu Natho Punyaya Tattva Praneta Jayatu Jayatu Yogi Yoga Gupya Pravakta Jayatu Jayatu Sakshat Tattvadarshi Maharshi Jayatu Jayatu Bhaktir Moolakandam Munindraha Swadhayanniha Sarveshan Trayantartham Sudurgraham Stotrayamasa Yogindraha Tam Vande Yamunakvayam Yo Nityamachyutapadambuja Yugma Rukma Vyamohitastaditarani Trinaya Mene Asmadgurur Bhagavatasya Dayeka Sindho Ramanujasya Charanau Sharanam Prapadye Shriman Venkatanatharya Kavitarkika Kesari Vedantacharya Varyo Me Sannidhattam Sada Hriti Shri Krishna Brahma Tantrottama Guru Karuna Vapta Chakranka Bhashyam Vairagyachara Vardhau Varada Padamukhe Lakshmane Nyastabharam Shri Vagishataturyam Shatharipu Yatirat Veda Chodarya Murtim Notnam Sriranganatham Kaliripumanagam Brahmatantram Shrayamaha Srimannotanaranganathayatiraj Aptatma Vidyalayam Srimannotana Samprapta Turyashramam Srivasendra Kataksha Santata Sudha Lakshyatma Yogaschitam Srimannotana Vagadesha Yaminam Bhaktya Shrayamo Gurum Shri Krishna Vagesha Yateshwarabhyam Samprapta Chakrankana Bhashya Saram Srinotnarangendra Yatau Samarpitaswam Shri Krishna Maryam Guruvaryamide Virodhe Kartike Mase Shatatara Kritodayam Yogacharyam Krishna Maryam Guruvaryamaham Bhaje Shishyakam Krishna Maryasya Nathavam Shapradepakam Kalyana Gunarupantam Shri Deshikan Namamyam Prashanta Purushakaram Viniyoga Pracharakam Vishesha Vaitikam Surim Tandeshikam Smaramyaham Lakshmi Natha Samarambham Nathayamuna Madhyamam Asmad Acharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Om Shant Shant Shanti. Namaste, friends. Namaste, and very nice to see you all today. Um, Today we are exploring the concept called Satya that is presented in the Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali. It's part of the Yama and Niyama. We have a very fascinating presentation about the topics of what we have to follow in our life to have a spiritual life and to go in the path of yoga. Today, the topic we are going to talk about is called Satya. And personally, for me, this I would say is one of the most important concepts of yoga that we have to remember. In my view, and I qualify it, this is certainly my view. Um, uh, I You don't have to agree with it, but in my view, there are only two major concepts that are very, very essential to yoga, which leads to all the others. And these two are Shraddha and Satyam. They are the two pillars for our spiritual path. And Satya is the second pillar. And we can interpret Satya as the process of what we call truth or authenticity. That's what we're going to explore today, the concept of Satya. So Satya is presented in the second chapter of the great Patanjali's Yoga Sutra as one of the yamas, which is a very important discipline that we have to follow. And the concept of Satya is presented as a way of embodying and living and expressing the truth, the truth. So there's a very beautiful definition for this concept called Satya that is something that is shared in our tradition. Yan manasa dhyayati tad vacha vadati tad karmana karoti. This is how it is presented. One of the definitions of Satya is that what we deeply feel in our heart, not what we think in our head, but what we deeply feel in our heart, that is what we are expressing through our words, and that is what we are expressing through our action. That is what we are expressing through our action. There is another way that this has been expressed. Manasyekam, vachasyekam, karmanyekam. That means the mind is having one concept, the heart or our feelings are having one concept, the words are expressing that same concept, and the actions are expressing the same concept. That means there is no difference between our intentions, our words, and our actions. That is what is defined as the truth. If there are differences between them, then that is not considered as Satya. It is considered a lie. There should be no difference between what we feel, what we say, and how we act. And this is a very high principle that has been presented. And in our tradition, that's the key reason why some practices work or they do not work. That's why we say that, for example, in our tradition, in Vedic tradition, we define a great sage as Rishayaha Satya Vachasaha. Rishis or sages are those who express the truth. Express means not only with words, but also with actions as well as with their intentions. That there is no difference between the three modalities of expression: speech, thoughts, feelings, as well as actions. Now, that's why their words become reality. That is why Patanjali actually says why we need to practice Satyam is Satya Pratishtayam Kriyaphala Ashrayatvam. When we establish ourselves in Satya, in the truth, then our every action we take, whether it's a verbal action or an action through our body or an action through an intention, because that is also an action, the universe will support that. Your actions will be well supported. There are various examples of this which are presented in our tradition. For example, in the great text Ramayana, there are two fascinating examples. One in just before the war, when Hanuman, the monkey god, is visiting Sri Lanka to search for Sita the first time. He goes and he is trapped by the enemy king called Ravana, because he delivers a message from Rama saying, liberate Sita, otherwise we'll have a war. Ravana gets very angry and he wants to punish the messenger and send a message to Rama. So he wraps Hanuman's tail with oil and cloth and sets it on fire. Of course, when your tail is set on fire, you start to feel the heat and you start to feel the pain, right? So Hanuman starts to feel this, and he's jumping up and down the city, burning down the city. And what happens is Sita hears about this. And Sita hears about it, and she just recites the words Shito Bhava, which means let it be cool. And in that instant, apparently, Hanuman stops feeling the heat. And so he gets even more excited because there is a fire, but he doesn't feel the heat. So he burns a very big part of the city so that it becomes weaker also, because a war is coming and a weaker city is much more easier to defeat than a stronger city. So that's one example. Because Sita was an embodiment of Satya. Sita was an embodiment of Satya. She practiced Satya, and this is why she is often called Satyavrati. That means the woman who embodied the vow of Satya, who lived Satya, the truth. In another instance, there is also the case where the war is happening and there is a fight between Lakshmana, Rama's brother, and Indrajit, which is Ravana's son, and they both are equally skilled. And Indrajit is a great, great, great warrior, and no matter what Lakshmana is trying, he is unable to destroy. He is unable to destroy Indrajit or defeat him in the battle. So at some point, Lakshmana just chooses one arrow and he recites a very fascinating verse. Dharmatma satya sandhascha ramo dasharatir paurushesha pratidvandaha sharenan jahiravanim. He says, look, if words I am saying is truth, then please go and kill this son of Ravana. And he says, if Rama is an embodiment of Dharma, if there is no equal to Rama in this world, if Rama is the embodiment of truth, and he is indeed the son of Dasharatha, please, arrow, go and destroy Indrajit. And that is the arrow that actually kills Indrajit because the universe supports Satya. And this is why Satya, the vrata of Satya, the vow of Satya, is a very important vow that we have to practice in our spiritual path. And the vow of Satya means the vow that all our expressions, because we are living this life through expressions. We express actions through our body. We express words with our mouth, with our communication. And of course, we express many things through our intentions and feelings. An alignment of all the three at all times is the vrata of Satya. An alignment of all the three is what is called Satya. And this is very, very important because, of course, in the modern era, especially the kind of brainwashed education that is coming from the Western system of politeness, we are taught to lie. This is not correct. A small lie is still a lie. Whether you steal €1 or €100, it is still a theft. In the same way, one little lie or a big lie is still a lie. You cannot for one moment have an ambiguous system of saying, well, I will lie because blah, blah, blah. I don't want to face the consequences, or I don't want somebody to feel hurt. Oh, I don't want to blah, blah, blah. That's not the purpose. There is only one exception, that you can lie for a higher dharma, a higher dharma. And it has to be a dharma. It cannot be an excuse. That you don't want to hurt your child, that's not a higher dharma. That's not right, because you will hurt your child in the long term if you lie. You will hurt your child in the long term if you lie just for the sake of lying. So it really has to be a higher dharma. Now, so the alignment of these three is one of the definition of Satya. There's another definition of Satya, which is the embodiment of your truth, your Sat, our Sat, the embodiment of our Sat. Now, what is our Sat? Here, it represents what is called our Dharma. Our Dharma is our truth. So, Satyam or Satya is also defined as expressing your Dharma. That is Satyam. Expressing your Dharma is Satyam. If you are not expressing your Dharma, you are living a lie. So if you don't know your Dharma and you are living it, you are living a lie. So part of your responsibility in Satya is to figure out your Dharma. and express it to your best capacity. You don't have to be perfect. You only have to be your best. If you are doing your best in your dharma, you are a champion of Satya. You do not have to be the perfect mother, perfect father, perfect musician, perfect student, perfect writer, perfect human being. No, that's not Satyam at all, because this idea of perfection itself is a lie. That you have to be authentic, that is Satyam. That's why to figure out who you are, what is your dharma, that is your first responsibility. So Satya is defined as embodying and expressing our dharma. This is the second definition of Satya. It is the second definition of Satya. And this is quite a significant definition, especially in today's time where we do not know what is our dharma. Today, we certainly don't have this concept, and that is why we are suffering a lot and our words don't mean much. Now, one more thing that I want to say is, in the previous definition, when we talked about what we feel is what we express, is what we act on, the concept that your feelings is deep feeling, it's not your opinion. Your opinion is not the truth. Your opinion is just an opinion. That this room is now warm or cold is an opinion of mine. But that it is 25 degrees is a fact, is Satya. Now, whether 25 degrees is warm or cold, that's an opinion. For somebody, it may be cold. For somebody, it may be warm. So we cannot say our opinions matter. Our opinions don't matter. Our opinions are nonsense. So that's why in the modern era, we get twisted a little bit when we say we have the freedom of expression. Actually, it's not freedom of expressing anything we think about or any opinion we have, because that is nothing but a verbal diarrhea. Freedom of expression is actually freedom of expressing the truth. And the truth is something that doesn't change. You can't keep changing your opinion and expect that to be the truth. You can't keep changing your opinion and expect that to be the truth. That is not the truth. That is transitionary, momentary experience or reality or subjective reality. It's not the truth. So that's why this is very, very key to understand that it's a deep feeling. And we need to practice Satya in a daily basis as much as possible, all times, and try not to lie even for a small reason. Somebody has asked a question, can we lie to protect ourselves from an aggression? I will not agree with that. I don't think it's the right dharma to lie for such a purpose. We can actually tell somebody honestly, hey, I don't want you to be aggressive with me. I don't tolerate this, and walk away. This is something, if it's possible. The only exception in this context would be if your life is under threat, if somebody is about to kill you, maybe then. But even that is something that is a bit difficult to negotiate, navigate, because the moment we start one lie, we will have to express many more lies to hide that lie. I always feel that lying is like potato chips. You can't stop with one. So if you make one lie, you have to make more lies to kind of hide that first lie. So your first lie may have been a small one, but over a period of time, when many small ones get accumulated, it's a whole bag of potato chips you have consumed. And that is very, very toxic. So remember, lying is like a bag of fast food, toxic potato chips. So as much as possible, we have to avoid lying. Now, to practice Satya, there are a few things we need to remember. We have to remember a few things. So, I would like to give some ideas about how to practice Satya, which is essentially by living our life authentically. In order for that, the first thing we need to figure out is basically what is our value system? Who are we? What is defining us? What is our life's value system? And this is where dharma comes in. Because what is dharma is for one is different from others. And therefore, our value system may be slightly different for each of us. We all don't have to follow the same kind of value system because we may have different kind of dharma. As a teacher, I will have one set of value system. As a warrior, somebody may have another set of value systems. So the first thing is to identify what is our value system, what is our core values that define who we are, that define our, how do you call, life principles, our moral compass, our moral compass. And once we are clear with that, we need to identify personal and professional, let's say, goals or lifestyle that match with this life value system. For example, if you want your life to be a spiritual life, you can't choose a job that is just materialistic. You can't choose a partner who is only materialistic. It will not work. It will not work. You can't say, oh, let him fund my spiritual journey. Then you are basically manipulating that person to fund your personal ambition. This is not an alignment of value system. It's actually manipulation, and that is why it's not right. So your personal choices, your professional choices must align with that. That is what is living authentically. If you can't do that, then you are basically lying. If you choose a job because it gives you more money, therefore you can pay your bills, but it does not sit with your value system, then you are really not living an authentic life. You're just manipulating yourself and you're manipulating society. And that is what we are living in today, most of us, because we live in a society where we are dependent on money to pay bills and therefore we kind of start making compromises. That's where the problem starts. Lying starts. We lie to ourselves, to others, to kind of have this kind of bill paying ability. That's why the value system, defining our core values at various levels, what kind of personal values we will have, what kind of professional values we have, we need to define. And that is something that we have to figure out. And that will come only by figuring out our dharma. That is when we will figure out our dharma. So that's the first step, I would say, in trying to live authentically. Then the Second thing is try to communicate and express honestly at all times. Now, this is where a lot of people get a bit confused. Just because you have to be honest does not mean you have to share everything. Just because somebody says, hey, I want you to be honest, tell me your bank account and password, PIN code, PIN number. I don't need to tell them. I can be honest and say, hey, that's none of your business. That is an honest reply. That is an honest reply. So be honest does not mean share everything. Oversharing is also a problem. So always maintain honesty. And this is where there's a concept of listening becomes very important. It's one of the topics I want to talk later, but there are different types of listening. Most people listen to respond. Now, that's the lowest type of listening. A higher type is listening to understand. That's not the highest type. I have 4 types of listening, but that's for another topic. There is listening to respond. That's the lowest type. People just want to respond and win. You want to say something, the other person just wants to say something else so that they are one up than you. They always want to win, win, win. That's the lowest form of listening. And that's when you will not really listen to what is deep inside your heart. Listening to understand is the second level. And when you understand something, you may communicate better. So don't be under the what you call illusion that just because somebody asks you something, you have to tell them everything. Or the second point, which is that you have to respond immediately. You don't have to. You don't have to react immediately. You can say, well, I need some time. I need some time. I can come back to you tomorrow. I can come back to you and I've got the answer. Or sometimes just say, well, I need some time to find out the answer. I need some time to really understand your question. So this is very important to actually communicate honestly. And in this context is also where we need to ensure that we don't make any assumptions. We don't make any assumptions. We actually are remaining curious and ask questions. It's one of the reasons why I'm often asking people so many questions. And then people just respond, hey, you're asking too many questions. Why don't you just shut up? My reason is because I don't want to make any assumptions. Now, when you assume something, then you're not operating on Satyam, you're operating on what you think is right. This is including things like entitlement. Many people feel they are entitled to an opinion, they are entitled to speak. Just because I'm sharing something to somebody, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm actually wanting their opinion. I don't need their opinion. Sometimes I'm just sharing because I want to share. So don't make an assumption that your opinion is needed. Ask, do you want my opinion? That's more consistent with Satyam. That's more consistent with the truth rather than assuming that, oh, you are so entitled to your opinion. This is an example of assumption. There are so many assumptions we make. Sometimes we make cultural assumptions, like when you see two people together, a man and a woman, we assume, like in India, people will assume they are a couple, but they need not to be a couple. They could just be friends or even brothers or sisters. But we make assumptions and talk as if that is assumption is correct. And that is a problem. And in this context, to, for what both I've said, just the last 2 points, to find out your authenticity as well as to not make assumption. One thing that really helps, which I think would be probably the third way to practice satya, is taking time to reflect. This is something we don't do. We over analyze, which is intellectual diarrhea. Overthinking is not the same as reflection. Actually, reflection is when the mind is quiet, not when the mind is busy. And you will not know your truth when your mind is too active. You will know your satya when your mind is quiet. So taking time to reflect every day, at some point in your day, take some time to reflect on your values, your journey in life, where you've come from. Are you in the right path? Are you happy with what the choices you're making? Is there a need to change something, etc.? Take some time to basically uh, reflect. The fourth thing is be straightforward. A lot of time, people always tell me, I want to find my tribe so that I can be honest with them. My response is that's the stupidest way to find your tribe, because actually the reverse is how it works. You start being direct and straightforward, you will find your tribe, because those who cannot tolerate the truth will leave you. And those who will accept truth will come to you. You will find your tribe only by being honest, not the other way around. So if you're waiting for your tribe, you will wait for many, many lifetimes. And you will never feel at home because you're not being honest. So you may lose some people on the way when you are very straightforward. That's okay. That's okay, because maybe not all of them are meant to be around you. Maybe not all of them are basically your tribe. Maybe they are not able to accept your truth. So try to be very, very direct. And again, very important to speak and express your truth. Therefore, first, know your truth. Another important thing is, do not compare yourself to others, because your satya is what you can live. You cannot live somebody else's life. You cannot do what somebody else is doing, no matter how close they are or who they are. And even if you are twins, you cannot compare yourself with your twin brother or sister, because you are both different beings. You are different at the body level, you are different at an emotional level, you are different in an energetic level, you are different in spiritual level, you are different in terms of psychological states. So you just cannot compare yourself with others. That's the worst thing that we can do, and that is the worst way, by moving away from Satya, because then we are not accepting our authenticity. We are searching for somebody else's values and want to embody that. How is that going to be possible? A rose cannot smell and taste like a pineapple. It's not possible. So the rose is not thinking, oh, I wish I was a pineapple. The pineapple is not thinking, oh, I wish I was a rose. The same way, we cannot compare ourselves with anybody else. We can only compare ourselves with the version we were before. And we have to accept the change because we are changing. We are changing. We look at photos of ourselves from 10 years ago, you will see that you are very different. The choices you make now and the choices you make 10 years ago, very different. It's possible. So we have to accept that we cannot even compare ourselves with others. So that's another way of practicing Satya. Stop immediately the concept of comparing with other people. Another way to practice Satya is do not exaggerate just to make the story better or just because you want to impress somebody else. So you want to exaggerate some details. Now, the moment we start exaggerating, we are slightly adding some lies to the reality. We are adding some lies to the reality. And then it becomes more and more because it becomes a habit to exaggerate. And very often we exaggerate because we always want to impress somebody. And the moment you want to impress somebody, then you are starting to lie because you're no more accepting who you are. You know, the rose is not blossoming because it wants to impress one of us. It doesn't care whether we will appreciate it or not. It will blossom. It will not bother whether you give it a compliment or not. It will just grow. In that same way, we just have to be ourselves. We don't need to impress anybody. We don't need to impress and therefore add details to the reality. And the moment we start adding, you will see that the story keeps changing. And by the time you tell the story the fifth or sixth time, the story is so different from the reality. So do not add any extra ingredients just to impress somebody or impress yourself. Sometimes we want to impress our own ego, so we add details. We add, oh, it's so great, oh, we had such a great experience, but in reality, maybe not. In reality, it may not be that way. This is very, very important. Another practice that we can do, this is perhaps a very important one. In many yoga texts, they talk about it in a very subtle way. Avoid liars. Avoid liars. So if we surround ourselves with liars, we will be forced to lie as well. We will believe their lies and we will start to lie to ourselves or others. And lying, avoiding liars. Liars come in many ways. Liars are not only people who say things about others, but they're also people who are always saying, it's always your fault. They're always the victim. Oh, it's your fault that I'm not happy. Oh, it's your fault that this is not right. Oh, it's your fault it's not. They lie to you. It's called gaslighting. That's a form of lying. That's a liar. So if there is somebody like that in your family, stay away from them. It could be your parent. It could be your partner. It could be your child. It could be your brother. It could be a sister. It could be your boss. Stay away from them. Or people who lie constantly, who manipulate constantly because they want to get something from you. They want to get something from others. These are liars because they're not operating on Satyam. As I said, a liar is somebody who is not aligned with their dharma, or a liar is somebody who is not having the alignment of their feelings, words, and actions. Avoid all such people. You will let go of so many people in this world, but those who are around you will be very close. Will be very close. And we all think we need lots and lots of people. There's no point in having 10,000 Facebook friends with whom we can only lie, and not have one person with whom we can have an open and deep conversation. And lying nowadays is on in various forms. People lie with their photographs. I mean, people put on their profile pictures photos with filters. They look more beautiful than they really are. Now with artificial intelligence, somebody can look like a Viking, somebody can look like somebody from the 1900s, blah, blah, blah. They are all this, and the fakes are becoming so real that we cannot even know what is real and what is fake. It's so real. I mean, yesterday, the former Prime Minister of Singapore had to come and issue a statement because somebody has made a video with his fake identity, say, which is marketing a crypto scam. And he says, that's not me. But if you look at it, it looks so real. It looks so there are so many ways of lying now that has come. We have to avoid all such things. We have to avoid all such things. So this is very, very important as well. And another important thing to practice Satya is, don't assume that you as a project has come into its completion. In another way, always know that you are a work in progress, because we are constantly evolving. We are changing. Our dharma may not change, but maybe the way we express our dharma, or who we express it to, may change, may improve. We may become better. We can improve. Don't assume that you as a project is complete. As long as we have life, there is scope for improvement. Even if we are in the 80s or 90s, there is scope for improvement. And sometimes that's what I'm always impressed by. Some of the elderly people I see on my walk, some of them are in their 80s, and they are still walking, they are still stretching, they're still trying to improve their health. The project, the human project, is not complete at any moment. It's complete when we die. So till we die, always have the humility that we can improve. This is also a truth, that we can change, we can improve, or we can the opposite of improvement, we can become worse. That's also possible. Maybe our body's health fails, our vision becomes weaker, our hearing becomes weaker. It's possible. This is also that we are constantly changing. That humility we have to have. It's not that our project is complete. And this is something that we need to have also as a reminder that our truth is, there are certain truths that cannot change, but there are certain truths that is something that is changing. How we communicate, how we look at things, how our understanding of things may change. This is possible. So this is some of the ways I can think of that we can practice Satya. And one more thing in this concept of the human project, as I said, I want to say, emphasize one more topic is achieve, uh, accept feedback from the proper persons. Now, if I want feedback on my dharma, I need to ask that feedback to the expert of my field. I cannot ask any person, what do you think about me? What do you think about my dharma? What do you think about this? It's useless to ask people their opinions. Feedback is something that has to come from a person who has no agenda with you except to help you improve, and who is having the ability to give you feedback, the ability to understand you at a deep level, understand what feedback you are looking for, what subject you are. If I want to have feedback about my health, I have to go to my doctor. If I want to have feedback about my electrical system in my house, I have to go to an electrician. I cannot ask my doctor, what do you think about my electricity in my house? Nor can I ask my electrician, what do you think about my health? My blood pressure is high. What do you think about that? So the feedback has to be from an authentic source, or what we call a reliable testimony, reliable source, agama, we call it in yoga. It can't just be any Tom, Dick, and Harry who gives the feedback. Especially don't ask Prince Harry. This is not a good idea. So this is very, very important to have feedback from reliable sources who have our good wishes in their heart, who have no agenda to manipulate us, who will help us to improve. Because sometimes we cannot improve just by ourselves because we can get stuck in our patterns. We can get stuck in our patterns, and sometimes when we are stuck in the patterns, we don't even realize that we are stuck in that pattern. So this is why feedback from a reliable source is also a way we can practice authenticity. One question has come: in case of lie by omission, when truth can really hurt, what can we do? Again, this is a very case by case scenario. It's a very case by case scenario because uh, what what is the motivation of omission? That's a question. What's the motivation of omission? Is it to intentionally manipulate or not? That's a very important question. Secondly, we have to, in this, that is a very brilliant question because we have to accept that we are always operating on omission. There are so many things that I don't know, that my mother or my father have not told me, that may have significance to my life. But it just so happens that they have not had the time or the opportunity to speak about it, nor did I ask them the questions that about it because I don't know. So we are, this is a very important realization that very often we are operating under omission. A lot of information we don't have even about ourselves. We don't have even about ourselves. How many of us remember every detail of our life from the time of conception till now? We don't. So to assume that we will have to know everything, that's already an illusion. But if a person is omitting something intentionally for a particular outcome, to influence a certain outcome, that is not correct. Like, for example, if parents are separating and they don't want to tell the children, that's a lie. That's, we cannot try to protect the child, because in the long term, the child will know, and it's not stupid. The child can feel it, the tension. So that kind of omission, that's why I use the word very carefully, to manipulate for a certain outcome. It doesn't have to be good or bad. That you are trying to control how another person feels is already none of your goddamn business. It's their responsibility how they feel. It's not your responsibility how somebody else feels. So in that way, you're already manipulating if you are using that as an excuse to either lie or to omit some details. We cannot try to control how anybody else feels. This is not right. So I hope this answers that question. And if not, I am so sorry about it, but I tried my best. And so this is what I would like to share. And again, this is a very important topic, my dear friends, the concept of Satya. We need to embody this as deeply as possible, because Satya is one of the biggest foundations for our spiritual journey. And please remind yourself, even the smallest of lie is still a lie. So the moment you start telling a small lie, it's like saying, I'll have a small piece of potato chip. You cannot stop with one. You will eventually end up consuming the whole bag. In the same way, you will eventually end up lying more and more. So let us practice Satya as much as possible, and if possible, all the time, so that we can progress in this path. We will conclude with a chant, and then we will end the session. Om Shanno Mitra Sham Varunah Shanno Bhavatvaryama Shanna Indro Brahaspatihi Shanno Vishnurukramah Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayo Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmavadesham Pratamavadesham Satyamavadesham Tanmamavet Tadvaktaramavet Avinma Avidvaktaram Om Shanti Shanti. Namaste, friends. Namaste.